Hello, hello. Welcome to day 1031 of Connecting the Thoughts. Quote for today is never forget to nourish your roots. They hold the ground that is yours. That might feel like quite a mouthful. That might feel like a very too many thoughts in one space, but stay with me on this. What I'm talking about is nourishing your roots because they hold the ground that is yours. And let that settle in and let's have a conversation on that. And before we do that, you guessed it. Sure. Welcome back to the conversation on day 1031 of Connecting the Thoughts. Quote for today is never forget to nourish your roots. They hold the ground that is yours. When I say that, what truly comes to your mind when I say never forget to nourish your roots? It's important for you to nourish your roots, to nourish the core of who you are, to nourish where you come from, to nourish your values, to nourish the identity that you are, to nourish your traditions, the values that you've been given as a person, the the beliefs or the what makes you complete as a person is, hey, there he is. Hello, hello. So what makes you complete is obviously the your roots, because it's from there that you get your value system, your lifeblood, for instance. And it's important for you to nourish that. It's important for you to get to know yourself fully. We live in a world where I am from India. I'm from Indian origin. I live in the UAE. And when I say nourish my roots, I also mean I need to be connected to the space that I come from, to the culture that I belong to, and not be completely lost in where I am coming to live in. So as much as it's all about having your own identity and all of that, but it's also important for you to stay true to your roots, to stay honest with your roots, where with the values of your family, with the traditions, with the culture that you come from. And I think what I really am trying to drive home is that the values of your family, understanding where you're coming from and being honest with yourself about that, because it's when you can be. I'll give you an example. When my children flew out of the nest, my son was not even 18 then, and my daughter was, yes, she was 20 plus, but still children, right? So for me, I think the three things that I ask them to be very mindful of as they leave the nest is, first, their identity, was to take care of their identity as who they are. Because once you leave the nest, you realize that you get influenced by a number of people outside. There are people, there are friends, there are colleagues, there are different experiences in life that begin to influence you. Yet, if you can be honest with your identity, with your roots, or if you can be honest and totally mindful of your roots and nourish them, that's when you are able to hold your ground, because it's your roots that give you that space to take the right decisions, depending on who you are. So, what the decision I might take would be very different from a decision that someone else in some other part of the world might take in some other family. It really differs person to person. And what works for me might not work for someone else, and what works for someone else might not work for me because I come from a very different space, and the other person might come from a very different space altogether. So, it's important that you nourish your roots. Gopalan says, through that, nourish the roots, they hold on to the ground you stand on. Absolutely. And if you were to see yourself as a mighty tree, it's your roots that hold the ground. It's your roots that um, that help you stand strong against anything that might sway you, anything that might, there he goes, anything that can shake you up. So, yes, it can get shaky. So, nourish your roots. Sometimes we look at a tree and we look at the tree and we look at the beautiful leaves, the branches, the fruits it bears, and we tend to forget about the silent roots that are doing its function, the roots that are holding it so beautifully and powerfully in its place. So nourish your roots. And when I say roots, I am talking about values, I am talking about family, I am talking about culture, traditions, your identity. So if we've already, yeah, Abdurrahim, we've already looked at your value systems and identity, family, your core family, your parents, your children, your near and dear ones, those people who are the are are those elements who are the essence of who you are. They kind of literally shape you into being the person that you are. Make sure you're connected with them. Make sure you don't miss out on being part of their world just because you're too busy. Gopalan says the stronger your roots, the better they can withstand stormy weather. Absolutely. So just make sure that your roots are super strong. Make sure that they're holding the ground, and make sure that you respect them. And the way you nourish your roots is by respecting them, by giving them your time, and by making sure that you keep in touch. So, yes, sometimes, as I said again, I am somebody who's living far away from home. I am from India, yet I live in a different country. I'm in the UAE. So for me, it's important to stay connected with my roots, with my family, and just make sure that I have that connection still. So yes, these are little things that are super important. Being connected with your culture, being connected with the things that make you the person that you are. So being honest with your identity, being honest with your family, with the culture and traditions of your world. These are super important things because they give you, they shape you, they make you who you are. So make sure that you are nourishing your roots. They hold the ground that you stand on. They hold your space for you, and they make sure that you are standing firm, strong, powerful, bearing fruit, even in the most strongest of storms. So while this situation of COVID pandemic has shaken a lot of us, those of us who've been able to stay true to our values, who've been able to stay connected with family in spite of the distance, who've been understanding of the traditions of our home, the cultures, the things that we do as the person that we are, have been able to go through this a little more strongly and a little more with a little more peace at mind as compared to those who've just been a little shaken up about it otherwise. So yes, this is what I feel. And Gopalan says roots feed your beliefs and values. Yes, they do. They feed your beliefs and your values. And as I think of that metaphor of the fruit and the tree, sometimes when you bear fruit, when a tree bears fruit and and the fruits are not plucked on time, and they fall to the ground, and they might even become part of the soil. So it's like a cycle, isn't it? And as I think of that, it's so powerful, because a fruit on a tree, your own fruit, the fruit that you've bared, the effort that you've made, if in case it's not plucked about on time, um, it falls to the ground, converts to soil, and then becomes further begins to nourish you. So anything that you put your effort into, anything that you put your heart and soul into, quite literally, because the fruit is bearing the heart and soul of the tree. So anything that you put your heart and soul into, anything that you haven't been able to utilize or give to the world, is not wasted, because it gets recycled and connected. Abdurrahim says, what about those who do not have strong roots? Everyone has strong roots. I feel everyone has strong roots. It's just about identifying and sitting with yourself and identifying. And Abdurrahim, you are somebody I know who has very high values. So uh, if it's not about family, then it's about the values that a person comes from, and a person builds these values based on the experiences of their life. To be a giver is a most powerful value, and we all tend to have these. So understanding your values, understanding your beliefs, understanding where you come from, and staying connected with yourself is the most powerful thing that you can do. I hope this was of value to you. Later today at 9 p.m. UAE time, which would be, say, around 7.5 hours plus from now, I am in conversation with Brigadier Sushil, and we are talking about time time management. We are talking about time management, where he is talking about how you can manage your time, how you can create pockets of um, having consistency, being more defined in what you're doing, having more discipline. And he is absolutely magnificent in what he does. He's got years and years of experience, not just in the army, and that of course has its discipline of its own, and but also years of experience as a trainer. He cut short his career as an army man to start his own training organization, and it's going to be very, very powerful. So come on board later tonight if you want to understand how time can work in your favor, and how more time equals more freedom. Do join in later tonight on Wise Wednesdays with RK. And if this has been of value to you, please write and comment saying, I am rooted. Let's use that. Please write and comment saying, I am rooted. Tag a friend who needs to receive this message. If you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Here's where I post daily videos on the little things that make life big. And until tomorrow, keep smiling, keep shining, stay safe, and thank you for connecting the thoughts with me. Thank you so, so much. Thanks.